Hello, friends. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Janice Mitchell, and I'm a pelvic health physical therapist. I graduated from PT school in 1995. I had my first baby in 1999, and I experienced some significant pelvic health dysfunction after that first birth. I went to a pelvic floor class, and it was literally a life-changing class for me personally, and then also professionally, because I really felt like, wow, look at our anatomy, amazing how our bodies work, and how can I have this information and not share it with others? So here we are 20 plus years later, and it's been my privilege to connect with countless people over the years. And my goal is to help you connect with your pelvic floor muscles and connect with strategies to help you live the life that you want to live and do what you love with who you love without pain, pressure, or leaks. Where do we start? So everyone has to start somewhere, and where we're going to start with lesson 1 is with something called a Bladder and Bowel Diary. So I encourage you to download this, print it out, and write on it, or if you have the way to document on it electronically, that's fine. But actually keep track, and I encourage you to do at least 2 or 3 consecutive days at the beginning of this challenge so that you have an idea of where your baseline is with your bowel and bladder function. Now, we're going to go through how to complete it and what a sample one might look like. Here is a bladder and bowel diary. So this includes 1 whole day's worth of activity, and this is a blank log. So what I want you to look at, we're going to look at the instructions here. So this diary will give you and your healthcare provider an excellent baseline of your current bowel and bladder function, right? So column 1, it starts at midnight and it goes through midnight. So it covers 24 consecutive hours. Column 2 is recording what you're putting in your body. So the amount of fluid that you're drinking, the type of fluid that you're drinking, food that you're eating, and then when you wake up and when you go to bed. Column 3 is tracking your urine. So when you urinate, I want you to either gauge it one of 2 ways. The first way is that you can gauge it here. So small, seem like a small amount, or urinated just in case. So this would be just a few drops. Medium would be like an 8-ounce measuring cup that would run over. And then large seem like you urinate when you wake up first thing in the morning. So a lot of urine. If that is challenging to record it like that, then I would encourage you to count how many seconds you urinated. So you count from the beginning to the end. So this would be in column 3 here. So let's say this person woke up at 6 a.m. They had a large amount of urine that they urinated in the toilet, or they could also count it. So 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, count how many seconds. So either small, medium, or large, or count how many seconds. Now this 4th column is amount of leaking, all right? So here's the gauge here. Amount of leaks. So a small amount would be a drop or 2 of urine. A medium amount would be that you wet the underwear, or a large amount would be wetting the outerwear or the floor. And that would be, you need to change your clothes with that one. When you went to the bathroom here, was the urge present, and how strong was that urge? So 1, 2, or 3. And here's the gauge for that. So 1 would be mild urge, 2 would be moderate, 3 would be strong. And I'm going to go over that in just a minute. And then column 6 here is activity with leaking. So what were you doing? Were you walking fast? Did you put the key in the door? Did you hear running water? There's a lot of things that can be triggers for our leaking. So now let's go back to that 5th column and talk about the urge. So as the bladder fills, it expands, and you have little stretch receptors on the bladder that send messages to the brain that say, hey, we're going to need to urinate pretty soon. And as that bladder continues to fill, those stretch receptors send stronger and more frequent messages to say, hey, we're going to need to urinate and to empty. And so that gauge 1, 2, or 3 is the gauge about how strong that urgency is. So that's the bladder diary. Again, I encourage you to keep track those first 2 or 3 days of this challenge so you can see a baseline of what you're doing and when you're doing it. And then later on, at the end of the challenge, you'll do it again to compare.